Hi, buddy. This is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with crypto profits. Now, I know that DeFi has been the rage for ages and ages and ages, and there's loads of DeFi applications, and I've even invested in some DeFi applications. And then part of the whole DeFi system is yield farming, and apparently some really, really silly gains can be made from yield farming, and yield farming completely baffles me. And in this video, I'm going to be talking to somebody who's an expert about yield farming, and we're going to be talking about their project and how that makes it easy and available and profitable for people to do yield farming. Check out Token Metrics. Use my affiliate link to get a discount. Token Metrics uses artificial intelligence and human intelligence for technical analysis and fundamental analysis to help you make really successful crypto picks. Please watch out for comments like this from scammers pretending to be me or other crypto YouTubers asking you to contact them via WhatsApp or DM. Also find me on bittube.video and also on Library, 2 censorship-resistant platforms. Come over and follow my work there. Hey, Michael, thank you so much for making yourself available.
Awesome. Well, I'm happy to be here with you.
Thank you. And you are the CEO of Defiyield App, is that right?
Co-founder, yeah. I mean, we have a team, so yeah, but CEO, yeah.
CEO.
Not CEO. Co-founder, yeah.
Okay, of Defiyield App. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to get into Defiyield App in detail.
Sure, sounds great.
But before we do that, just in 1 or 2 sentences, you know, like was it the pitch, the little mini pitch or something, right? Whatever that's called in sales. Elevator pitch
or something like that.
Yeah. What is so special about Defiyield App?
Well, I think the biggest thing is it's a project that is built by yield farmers for yield funders. So we were people who were out there investing in DeFi, working on, paying attention to the most advanced strategies to, profit as investors. And we started to go down the road of, running into all these problems, running into these ways that you get rug pulled and resulting in, there'd be flash loan attacks and all these different things. And then you have to try and keep track of all your different assets, et cetera. And so we built these tools basically for ourselves to help us with our investing and then make them accessible for the community. And hopefully what it achieves is that it takes a field which is really complex and, quite difficult to get into and makes it much more accessible for people. And then super significantly, as Mark Cuban discovered in the last week, also makes it safe for people to do. And so that's the main goal.
Okay, all right. So let me get this. So designed by yield farmers like yourself and the rest of the others on the team for yield farmers to make it safe, simple, and secure.
Yeah. I think that, you're nailing it. I need to have you write my elevator.
Well, the problem with you, forgive me, I'm going to tell you what the problem, one of the many problems with you is, right? And then you can tell me one of my many problems, and then we'll call my wife in and she'll add to the whole thing. This is something that you have built, you're building, right?
We're building it, yes.
It's a startup, you're in crypto, you're the co-founder, you're passionate about this, and there's so much you can talk about it and you want to let people know about it, right? That I can get. That I can get.
Yeah, that's 100% the case.
Okay. Do you want to say a little bit about your background and what you do with Defiyield?
Yeah, so my background is really as an entrepreneur, I would say. So I've done all kinds of different things. I would say that I came to crypto from a finance, tax structuring, banking, and then investing perspective. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm not a coder by background. We've got an amazing team of developers and things like this. But, I came to it just more as a person who says, hey, listen, I'm interested in the world. I'm interested in opportunities that are happening in the world, changes that are taking place, and, places where I see there's opportunity coming around. And so, I first saw crypto, back in 2013, and I did nothing about it. I, missed out on that one. That was fine. And then in 2015, I started to play around a little bit more with Bitcoin, not as an investment, but purely as, I was doing some things, online business, and somebody wanted to be paid for servers with Bitcoin or something. So it's like, okay, you have to figure out these Bitcoin ATMs and how does this thing work in order to get some and send it. And then, became more and more aware of it, of course, into 2016, 2017. And I wasn't really that excited about it, to be honest with you. The thing that made me more excited was when all this like DeFi stuff kind of started coming out, because it made it useful. It was like suddenly things became practical, and a lot of the problems I had had back in the day, I had money on exchanges, even being fairly careful. There'd been exchanges go down, and I'd lost money. And all of a sudden, there's Uniswap, and you can have a decentralized exchange where I don't have to trust some people who I inherently distrust on the other end.
Yep.
And that to me was really exciting, right? Was this idea that, hey, listen, we can operate without having to trust some other person. And that to me is kind of the vision of this whole thing. And it just turns out that that creates a ton of opportunities. I'm a really big believer that the banking system is just terrible today. It basically impedes business rather than facilitates business. And this is a really amazing alternative. And I think we're at just the beginning of it. And where it's going to go over the next 10 years is going to be incredible. And we want to be part of it.
I'm with you on that. I get it. And I think you're being a bit too kind. It doesn't impede business.
What would you say?
It destroys business, destroys livelihoods, because that's ultimately what fiat currency does. Debt currency. And we're going to see that roll out, I think, over the next few months or so. And for people that are interested, I know I got a little bit political there, but you should go and watch the interview that I did with Tom Luongo and Alexander Mukiris of the Duran, and they talked about what's happening in the background of the money markets. So please go and check that out. And you should check that out as well, Michael, okay?
I would love to. Yeah, absolutely. I'll check it out when we're done the video.
All right. Now, so let me tell you what my understanding of DeFi is.
Sure.
For people who are new to this, and then we'll go into what yield farming is. So what we have with the banking system is centralized banking, which is that if I want to take out a loan or a mortgage, or I want to put some money in, I have to trust a centralized entity, another third party. There's a counterparty risk, right? Like you could be the bank of Michael, and I say, here you go, Bank of Michael, here's my British pounds, and then I'm trusting you to hold on to them.
Yeah.
I want to come to the Bank of Michael and say, listen, can you lend me some money? I want to buy I want to get a house. And then you go through, well, how much do you earn? What's your expenditure? What's your credit history? All that sort of stuff, right? And then if you decide to grace me with a loan, then I can go and do that. That's centralized traditional finance. And decentralized finance is trustless. I put in collateral, generally, right? The principle of it. I put in some collateral into a contract, for example, say some Bitcoin, and I get a loan against it, and then I can do whatever I want with that. That's fairly broad, right?
Yeah, fairly broad. I think, the idea is to trust code, not people. And, that code is public, it's auditable, it's, everyone can see what's going on there. There's no thing happening behind the scenes that's going to burn you. Now, how well that works in practice, we're still working out kinks on that process, obviously. And I think that's a normal part of the process, right? Some people might get freaked out and say, oh my gosh, we're losing money and there's, hacks happening and all this. It's like, look, that's just part of the process of getting to where we're going. This is not the destination. This is part of the journey. It's a really interesting question when you think about what is decentralized finance or DeFi in general. And I think, to me, what I would say about it partially too is it's an open system that allows everyone to participate. And I think it's really important that this means that anyone can participate kind of the same way that the banks and big institutions could traditionally participate. And we're going to talk about that with yield farming because, you traditionally have these large institutions doing market making and they can reap all these rewards. And in decentralized finance, anyone can do that, right? When we're talking about lending, you have, big lenders, banks who are going and, what do you get by depositing your money into a bank today? Like negative interest in some places, literally negative returns. And, meanwhile,
in all places, it's a negative yield because inflation is going up.
Yeah, if you count the deterioration of the value of fiat, absolutely, yeah. Whereas when we're talking about DeFi, now a pool of people can participate in that way. And so instead of you having to go to the bank to get this credit card loan, you can go to the community, and no individual person has to know you for them to participate and to be able to benefit. And, there's lots of mechanics of trying to do that in a way that's safe and trying to make it accessible and all these different things. But at the end of the day, you're replacing institutions with the large bodies of the public who anyone can participate in. It's very much democratized. And I think that's a really positive thing.
Yes, I would agree with you that it is a positive thing, the democratization and the decentralization. Okay, so that's DeFi. And then you said you got into DeFi. That's what interested you. So what were you doing? Tell us some of your adventures in DeFi.
In DeFi, well, I mean, I think I probably started the same way that everybody started. I was fortunate enough that I had some clients and friends who I'd helped them on some other investing who they said, hey, listen, this is coming on. You have to be a part of this. Get on a video call with me. I'll screen share with you. I'll show you, how to set up MetaMask and how to use Uniswap and all these different things. And so, some of my early experiences were just, hey, let's try using Uniswap. Let's figure out how, I can look up a token on CoinGecko and, I can go and I can purchase that. Okay, that's really basic. And then diving into understanding, all right, now I can lend out these tokens somehow. Oh, that's interesting. I can get a return on it. This is amazing, right? Because normally you're holding and, maybe the prices are up and down and you believe in it long term, but in the meantime, it feels pretty bad when it's down and it feels pretty good when it's up. Well, why not get some yield off it, right? That's amazing. Obviously, you can do that with staking as well. And then going into yield farming, which is like a whole other thing, because you could go onto Defi Finance and see 1 trillion APY numbers and just like ridiculous things that you're probably not going to really get in practice, but it just kind of exposes this whole different world and this whole rabbit hole to dive down into. And so I remember the one day I was farming cake on Beefy, and so I'm like telling my wife that, or I think I was like Kebab or something. I'm like, yeah, like I'm staking cake on Kebab and Kebab on Beefy or something. And my wife's just like, what the heck does that mean? And I'm just like, well, cake is like the sushi of Binance Smart Chain. And it's like, sushi, what the heck? I like eating sushi. What is this thing? So yeah, it's a crazy world, right? There's just kind of these weird, pancake swap. This is like, this huge thing. What are we talking about here? And sushi swap, like what kind of a weird name is this?
Michael, it's so funny listening to you, right? Because I feel like how a no coiner must feel when they encounter somebody who's talking about Bitcoin or Litecoin. I mean, I've heard of those things, right?
What have you done? Tell me what your experience is.
In yield farming, nothing.
Okay,
traditional staking.
Yep.
I started my channel April 2017.
Yep.
And I have far too many coins and tokens that it's sensible to, that I can keep a track of.
You can sign up on our you just like go connect your wallet to the Defiyield App platform and it'll keep track of everything for you. It's super easy.
Okay. All right. Then I suppose like there's a project called Spectre.ai.
Yep.
They have the SXDT token, which is a dividend paying, a rewards paying token, and they invest in different projects and everything. So I don't know if that's not, it's DeFi, but it's not yield farming. I had Veritasium. I still have Veritasium tokens, which I think Reggie Middleton says is the original DeFi.
Yep.
And there's a few others, financial investments, some of them finance-based investments, some of them haven't come to anything.
Do you use things like Uniswap? Like, do you use DEXs, or how do you buy your tokens?
I've used, I'm so old. I'm an OG, right? I used Fork Delta. Lately, the fees on Uniswap have scared me. They scare
Yes, they are. They're terrifying. Terrible. Yeah.
I keep away from that. I don't quite understand, or I've never used any bridges.
Yep. Okay.
From one to another. I have
you
Matic.
Can totally try like Polygon or something like that.
I have Matic. I got a load of Matic when it was really, really cheap. I've done no videos on Matic. I've done really well with Matic. I don't know how to bridge it over. Not looked into it. I bought Aave. I bought it when it was lent. I bought it when it was lent. When it was 10 cents. 10 cents.
Oh man, so good, so good.
In 2018, did nothing with it. It sat in my wallet. Didn't really know anything about it. Bought it on a hunch, and now it's done really well. I'm staking Aave. But not doing anything. The loans don't make any sense. There's some projects that pay the loans off for you, and then I can deposit some crypto here and then convert it to a stable coin over here and then send it over there and then get paid in some other food-based coin. By the way, I'm from Pakistan. I want curry DeFi. That's what I want. I want a curry coin, right?
So I'm trying to think. There probably is some, but if not, you should make the curry coin. Absolutely.
There's chilies, which I know nothing about, right? I mean, part of the problem, Michael, is there's so many projects. And some of them are, I mean, there's many, many projects that are really, really good. And then there's many, many projects that are going to go to nothing, that are scams or shams. Right, or just bobble along.
And in a bull market, the ones that are going to nothing look really good because they're doing 2,500% in a week or something crazy like this.
Now I bought my first ETH when it was $3, and I've still got ETH and I hold on to it, but the gas fees terrify me. So that's a broad overview of my adventures in DeFi and yield farming, which I
Well,
was looking forward to this. Like, please educate me. I need
yeah,
to-
yeah. No, you should definitely definitely get on there. Like, I mean, so I had the same experience as you, where the fees in Uniswap were just like crazy, and that was why it was exciting to see Binance Smart Chain, right? And that was kind of like what led me to see, hey, listen, this is a big opportunity because I saw we have a really great Telegram chat, probably the best Telegram chat on yield farming, and all these people were moving over to Binance Smart Chain because basically the fees on Ethereum didn't make it cost effective for anyone small to yield farm.
Yeah.
And so Binance Smart Chain was like these super low fees, and there was Huobi Eco Chain and XDAI and some various other different chains as well. But the big one was Binance Smart Chain. And so it was like, okay, that's super cool. And then everything started to pump and it went crazy and cake went up, as much as I thought it would in 6 months, it went up in a month. And at that point in time, I was thinking, well, this is ridiculous because as much as this is cool, it's, lower cost, et cetera. There's no real projects being built here, right? All these projects are just degen, like, yeah, people are making all kinds of money, but there's no like substance. You don't have like, where's the theta of this? Where is the, something that's doing something real?
Yeah.
And then I became interested because of that quite a bit in the Polkadot ecosystem, because obviously they're kind of moving things in this direction. But really, Matic has done such a good job of capitalizing on that opportunity with kind of their solution. And now that's huge for yield farming. It's kind of the new, and then Arbitrum is kind of a new one. But yeah, I would really recommend people play around with it because a lot of the concerns that you had historically, where you'd say, oh, the gas fees are high or whatever. Well, the gas fees are like nothing on Polygon. So that's really easy. And okay, bridging over is a little like, again, this is where it's hard, right? It's like the process of bridging over is still too much friction.
Yeah. You know what it is? I've used Fork Delta.
Yeah.
Right? I can teach people. I've had videos. It used to be Ether Delta. I've had videos on how to use Ether Delta. I can use Ether Delta, Fork Delta. I'm sure bridging is a whole lot easier than that application.
Yeah.
The other one I thought is Secret Network, which is
yeah.
Cosmos, right? So I've covered that. I'm staking Secret Network, and there's CeFi tokens, but oh dear, life is short.
I mean, it sounds like you've been the rock star and getting into some of these things early. That's you were in Aave when it was still landed. It was like in 2018. Aave, man, I wish I'd put my whole net worth into Aave back then. That'd be great. Would have retired off that one.
That one was just a punt. That really was. Okay, I'll put some money in then, and then for some reason I didn't get rid of it.
That worked out well for you. I mean,
just
I think so.
Michael.
Sorry. Yep.
One I've done really, really well with, not a DeFi project, but I'm really, really happy with, right, is Pirate Chain.
Nice.
I have been covering Pirate Chains a month after it started. I'm actually now one of the crew. I'm a first mate. So I got Pirate Chain when it was below a penny.
Wow.
So I've just been, and that's done really, really well. And so what I've done is that I've actually focused on privacy projects, and I can understand those.
Nice.
It's simple.
Which privacy projects are you most excited about?
Pirate Chain.
Yep.
Sentinel, which is a decentralized VPN.
Yep.
Etho Protocol, which is decentralized data storage. In fact, you should host your website on the Etho Protocol application, fully decentralized, can't be censorship resistant, can't be taken down, and cheaper than traditional hosting services.
How fast is it? What's the speed like?
Oh, I don't know, but I've never heard anything that there's any. It uses IPFS to break it all up and send it all over the place, so I think it's pretty fast. BitTube, which is a censorship resistant social media platform, vlogging.
Yep.
Komodo is unbelievable. Veriscoin. Oh my god. Veriscoin. Veriscoin does stuff that no other cryptocurrency project can do. It is
like what kind of things?
Well, like for example, the miner extracted value.
Yep.
And front running.
Yep.
They have no budget. It's a community project. They sold ahead of Polygon and Cardano and Ethereum. So there's no front, like there is with front running. There's no front running with Veriscoin. I can launch my own blockchains.
Yeah.
With a simple graphic user interface. I can launch my own cryptocurrencies, which are 51% attack resistant. I can use them in a private network or a public network. And I've done loads. I've been covering that one for a couple of years. People don't know about that one yet. But anyway, we really should talk about DeFi Yield, right?
Yeah. No, well, I appreciate
You
you
know
sharing that.
about all these
I'll
projects.
check out some of these. It's interesting with the MEV. I was just watching recently. Bankless did a really cool kind of discussion on the subject and kind of some of the things that are being done to try and reduce that problem because it's a big deal. So very cool.
Yes. Anyway, yield farming.
Yes, yield farming.
Thank you for asking me that, and I kind of led onto it as well, talking about my passion for privacy. So yield farming.
Yes.
So you started off doing yield farming. What are some of the? How did you start off, and what are the challenges and issues that you dealt with, and what were the rewards as well?
Well, yeah. So I think there's two sides to that, right? The one is like the mechanics of how do you do it, which actually is not as straightforward as one might think. Because I remember ending up with these LP tokens, and I'm like, how do I break out my LP? Where do I go? What happens here, right? So some of the mechanics of going through and figuring out, okay, like how do you actually go and stake your tokens or add liquidity to a pool, etc. So that was one part of it. The other part, which I think is more important, because you can learn the mechanics pretty quickly, but the thing that will get you are the risks, right? You go in, and I remember the first time I went into some degen type pool, right? Something where they have these super high APYs. And I'm like, okay, you know what? This is just too high. I'm not going to put a lot of money in, but I got to just try this out. And, so you have this thing called impermanent loss. And it's like, what the heck is impermanent loss? Like, well, let me tell you, it's not impermanent. So just plain loss. I don't know where So that's like a big learning thing. We've actually built the most sophisticated impermanent loss calculator for people, and you can go check it out on our website to kind of understand how this can really burn you. And it was probably the most basic initial thing that I was learning about in terms of like things that can go wrong. Because on paper you should be making all this money, and it turns out you're losing money, and you're like, what the heck's going on here, right? And it's like, well, permanent loss. So in that sense, I think a lot of people, there's a learning curve right now, right? There's some consequences to this, and hopefully these are some of the things that we're going to solve and make it easier and more accessible for people. Because,
sorry, Michael, before you go on, if people aren't clear what impermanent loss is, I think I'm clear. Let me say what it is, right? So if I put some of my tokens into a liquidity pool on Uniswap, and then let's say these tokens are 10 cents each, and then what happens is somebody comes along, uses Uniswap to sell a lot of the tokens, and then the price of those tokens, let's say, goes down to 7 cents each, and then I choose to withdraw them, then I've made a loss of 3 cents per token.
Loosely, that's a reasonable explanation. Yeah, basically, the problem is that in any liquidity pool, you have a pair of tokens that you're trading between, and that liquidity pool is facilitating. There's going to be an imbalance that develops, and when that imbalance develops, you can end up with, like you said, a change in price, and then when you end up rebalancing at some point, what you get back on the other side is less than what you began with. And so if you end up with a really, this is why we recommend to people, use very imbalanced pools where it's like 95% stable coins and maybe 5% of the other pair, or 97.5 and 2.5, because it will reduce the impermanent loss really dramatically. And so that can be one thing that can help you. And again, you can see that using our impermanent loss calculator. You can run scenarios and see okay, what's the danger here? And it, of course, has to do partially with the volatility of the coins. The more the price is changing, the more that's an issue, which is why you could have two stable coins next to each other and more or less eliminate the risk of impermanent loss. So if you're going from, DAI to USDT or something like that, right? Or REN BTC to WRAP BTC, or WRAPD to, then you're ending up in a situation where, because the prices are essentially the same all the time, you're not having that big issue of impermanent loss. So then you can do like a 50-50 pool or something like that. So I'm probably being too technical. I apologize for that. But yeah, basically, because of the imbalances that develop in the liquidity pool, when it rebalances due to the price fluctuations, you end up losing money. And you do that regardless of the fact that you're getting paid all these fees, which seemed really great.
Okay, that's good. All right, so please carry on.
So basically, impermanent loss is the one big risk, and then you start getting, of course, into all these risks of rug pulls, right? I have a close friend who's reading our book, and he's like, oh, hey, I didn't really know so much about this yield farming thing. I'm going to get in there, and then he messages me the other day. He's like, man, I've watched like a bunch of these pools get rugged over the last couple of weeks, and it's crazy. And so you have rug pulls, and then people thought they understood that, and then there was flash loan attacks, and then they thought they understood that, and on and on.
Now, a rug pull is, let's say somebody sets up a DeFi project or something.
Yeah.
Right? People
Yeah.
deposit their tokens into the liquidity pool, and the
Yeah.
rug pull is when somebody comes along, shuts it
Yeah,
down,
basically.
takes the money.
Yeah, yeah. So what happens? I mean, there's various different ways that this can happen, but one of the most common ones is there's something called infinite minting. So they, when they control the smart contract, are able to produce an unlimited amount of that one token. So if you think, hey, listen, I had deposited, say, 50-50, let's say I put in USDC or DAI and this other token, and you've got this balance, and they can basically say, okay, great, I'm going to go and I'm going to produce an unlimited amount of this other token, and I'm going to use it to drain out all the USDC from this liquidity pool, drain it down to nothing. And because there's a massive number of these other tokens, I've just drove the price way down. And so what you're left with is nothing, right? So yeah, that's one of the ways that a rug pull
Oh wow, I had no idea. Okay, and you said there was
can happen. Yeah,
another.
yeah, lots of ways of scamming people out there.
You said that, and you said there was something else as well. There's another term you used.
Flash loan attacks, yeah, is
Flash
another.
loan attack. What's a flash loan attack?
Yeah, so I mean, without getting too complicated into it.